Ugandan boxing, from the pioneers to the modern era. Before Uganda became known for producing fearless boxers, before the national colors appeared on Olympic podiums, there were pioneers who built the foundation of Ugandan boxing. This is the story of a sport that has given Uganda champions, Olympic medals, Commonwealth glory, and world-class professional fighters. This is the story of Ugandan boxing. Organized boxing in Uganda dates back to 1950, when the Uganda Boxing Federation was established. Boxing quickly spread through clubs, especially in Kampala, giving young Ugandans an opportunity to develop discipline, confidence, and competitive spirit. But the real breakthrough came in the 1960s. At the 1968 Mexico City Olympics, Uganda won its first Olympic boxing medals. Eridadi Mukwanga won silver. Leo Rwabwogo won bronze. 4 years later, Rwabwogo returned at the 1972 Munich Olympics and won another silver medal. To this day, he remains the only Ugandan boxer to win 2 Olympic medals. The Olympic success created a new generation of champions. Names such as Mohamed Maruli, James Odwori, George Oywello, Benson Masanda, and Ayub Kaluli helped establish Uganda as one of Africa's boxing powers. Mohamed Maruli became a 2-time Commonwealth Games champion, and then came Ayub Kalule, who became a world champion in professional boxing. Uganda had proved that its fighters could compete anywhere in the world. Francis Were Nyangweso, behind many of these achievements, was one of the most influential leaders in Ugandan boxing history. Francis Were Nyangweso, a former boxer and administrator, Nyangweso served as president of the Uganda Boxing Federation during different periods and became an influential figure in African and international boxing. His era was closely associated with Uganda's golden generation. His impact went beyond Uganda because he helped connect Ugandan boxing to the wider international boxing community. The professional era Ugandan boxing continued to produce stars on the professional stage. John "the Beast" Mugabe became one of the most feared punchers of his generation and eventually challenged the legendary Marvin Hagler for the World Middleweight Championship. Cornelius Boza Edwards became a world champion. Kasim Uma became an IBF world champion, and fighters such as Justin Juko also challenged for world titles. Uganda had become a name respected in international boxing. The difficult years. But the sport later entered difficult times. Funding challenges, administrative disagreements, and leadership disputes affected the development of amateur boxing. Different groups fought for control of the federation, and at one point a normalization process was required to restore order. The talent was still there, the fighters were still training, but the system supporting them needed rebuilding. And then came a new chapter, the Moses Muhangi era. In 2018, Moses Muhangi became president of the Uganda Boxing Federation. He inherited a federation facing serious challenges. His administration focused on 5 major areas: accountability, structures, transparency, discipline, and exchange programs. The objective was to create a more organized and sustainable boxing system. Under his administration, participation expanded, with reports showing growth in registered boxers in schools taking part in boxing competitions. But one of the biggest developments was the creation of the Uganda Boxing Champions League. The league gave boxers something they needed badly: regular competition. Instead of waiting for occasional tournaments, fighters could compete throughout a structured season. It also created a platform for clubs, sponsors, and fans, and it introduced a more commercial approach to Ugandan amateur boxing. Developing the sport. Muhangi's administration has also placed emphasis on boxer welfare, officials' allowances, infrastructure, technical development, and stronger international relationships. The vision is bigger than simply producing one champion. It is about creating a system where a young boxer can enter a club, compete at school level, move through the national championships, enter the Champions League, and eventually represent Uganda internationally. In 2026, Muhangi was confirmed for another 4-year term, taking his leadership into 2030. If he completes the term, he will have spent 14 years leading Ugandan boxing. The legacy. When we look at Ugandan boxing history, 2 leadership eras stand out for very different reasons. Francis Were Nyangweso represents the foundation and international rise of Ugandan boxing. Moses Muhangi represents the modern attempt to rebuild, organize, and commercialize the sport. One helped establish Uganda's place in international boxing. The other is attempting to build a stronger system for the next generation,